Hi, my scientists. I'm sorry I'm not here today. I'm in the building, but I'm working with the eighth graders. So today we're going to finish up our digestive system notes that we started last class. And then we're going to talk a little bit more about the excretory system and look at how your kidneys work. You're going to have a digestive and excretory system ed puzzle to do. And then we're going to move into the nervous and endocrine system and look at some notes and some brain pops. And we have an endocrine system reading and questions. So whatever you don't get done in class today will be homework for you. Just a reminder that you will have a quiz, your last quiz for 7th grade on Tuesday of next week on these body systems. So let's start off with finishing the notes from last class. So I believe we left off at the large intestine. So you need to get out your digestive system notes from yesterday, and we are on the back. So if you do not have those notes out, pause this video. If you have them out, then let's get going. So the large intestine, food that's not digested, and the small intestine gets passed to the large intestine. Large intestine is also called the colon. And the function of the large intestine is to remove water from the digested food, and really whatever's left is undigested. We're going to remove the water. It's really important that the large intestine functions well, so it helps to maintain homeostasis of water levels in our body. The solid waste that remains is called feces, and the feces are stored in the rectum until they are removed through the anus. All right. If your large intestine isn't functioning properly, then you know that you have diarrhea because the water is not being absorbed. So there are bacteria that are present in the large intestine, and they help the body digest food, absorb nutrients, and produce vitamins. Right? These bacteria are very important. It's good for us to have these good bacteria in our digestive tract. And so this is an example of a mutualistic relationship because two organisms are benefiting. We are benefiting because the bacteria are helping to digest some food. They're making vitamins B and K for us. And the bacteria are benefiting because they have an environment to live in, which is our large intestine. All right, digestive helpers. We talked a little bit about these yesterday. These are the liver, the pancreas, all right, pancreas down here, sorry, and the gallbladder are all considered digestive helpers because the food doesn't pass through them, but they all are going to release enzymes into the small intestine. And here's kind of the beginning of the small intestine there. So the liver produces bile, and bile is stored in the gallbladder, and bile breaks down fatty foods. So if you know anyone who's had their gallbladder removed, they then no longer, the bile will not be going into the small intestine. So they need to limit fatty foods in their diet because it could make them have some intestinal issues. And the pancreas produces enzymes that are released into the small intestine. The enzymes help to break down fats, proteins, and carbohydrates. Those enzymes are called pancreatic juice, is released. And so they're going to help break down a lot of different types of foods into the nutrients we need in the small intestine. So those are kind of what we call digestive helpers. Okay. So the excretory system. Yesterday we had said that the function of the excretory system was to remove wastes, right? The digestive system breaks down food and how they work together. The digestive system brings in nutrients for cell respiration. The excretory system removes waste from cell respiration and also other metabolic processes that happen. Right? We had looked at the urinary system, the main part of the excretory system. And so we have the kidneys, all right, two tubes leading from each kidney called the ureters, the urinary bladder, and the urethra. So let's just watch a quick video now on how our kidneys work. And I have it up here, hopefully. Okay.
It's a hot day, and you've just downed several glasses of water, one after the other. Behind the sudden urge that follows are two bean-shaped organs that work as fine-tuned internal sensors. They balance the amount of fluid in your body, detect waste in your blood, and know when to release the vitamins, minerals, and hormones you need to stay alive. Say hello to your kidneys. The main role of these organs is to dispose of waste products and to turn them into urine. The body's 8 liters of blood pass through the kidneys between 20 and 25 times each day, meaning that together, these organs filter about 180 liters every 24 hours. The ingredients in your blood are constantly changing as you ingest food and drink, which explains why the kidneys need to be on permanent duty. Blood enters each kidney through arteries that branch and branch until they form tiny vessels that entwine with special internal modules called nephrons. In each kidney, 1 million of these nephrons form a powerful array of filters and sensors that carefully sift through the blood. This is where we see just how refined and accurate this internal sensing system is. To filter the blood, each nephron uses 2 powerful pieces of equipment, a blob-like structure called a glomerulus, and a long stringy straw-like tubule. The glomerulus works like a sieve, allowing only certain ingredients, such as vitamins and minerals, to pass into the tubule. Then, this vessel's job is to detect whether any of those ingredients are needed in the body. If so, they're reabsorbed in amounts that the body needs so they can circulate in the blood again. But the blood doesn't only carry useful ingredients. It contains waste products too, and the nephrons have to figure out what to do with them. The tubules sense compounds the body doesn't need, like urea, left over from the breakdown of proteins, and redirects them as urine out of the kidneys and through 2 long sewers called ureters. These tubes empty their contents into the bladder to be discharged, ridding your body of that waste once and for all. There's water in that urine too. If the kidney detects too much of it in your blood, for instance, when you've chugged several glasses at once, it sends the extra liquid to the bladder to be removed. On the other hand, low water levels in the blood prompt the kidney to release some back into the bloodstream, meaning that less water makes it into the urine. This is why urine appears yellower when you're less hydrated. By controlling water, your kidneys stabilize the body's fluid levels. But this fine balancing act isn't the kidney's only skill. These organs have the power to activate vitamin D to secrete a hormone called renin that raises blood pressure, and another hormone called erythropoietin, which increases red blood cell production. Without the kidneys, our bodily fluids would spiral out of control. Every time we ate, our blood would receive another load of unsifted ingredients. Soon, the buildup of waste would overload our systems and we'd expire. So each kidney not only keeps things running smoothly, it also keeps us alive. Lucky then that we have 2 of these magical beans.
Okay, so we see how the kidneys function and how important they are. So every drop of your blood gets filtered by the kidneys. And so it just keeps circulating and filtering our blood. Okay, what I'd like you to do right now is I'd like you to pause this video, and you are going to go back into Google Classroom, and this Edpuzzle is posted for you. And so I'd like you to complete this Edpuzzle, a little bit of a review of the digestive and excretory systems. Once you are done with that, You're going to join me back here and have your body systems overview packets so that we can complete our last two systems of the nervous system and the endocrine system. So go ahead and do the Edpuzzle. Okay, welcome back. So you should see on the screen, if you look at the pink dots, you kind of see some pink dots moving around. But now what I want you to do is to stare at the black plus in the center of the moving dots. And you may notice that those pink dots, now you see a green dot moving along, right? And after a short time, all the pink dots will slowly disappear and you'll only see a green dot rotating if you continue to stare at that. All right. There really is no green dot at all, but it is just a little thing with our brain. And so as we kind of think about the nervous system and thinking about our brain, we know that sometimes our brain may interpret things a little off or a little bit differently than other people. Okay, so let's look at our body system overview packet. And our last thing, the nervous and the endocrine system. So the function of the nervous system is to control body activities using electrical impulses. And now we're going to watch a quick brain pop on the nervous system. Oh my goodness.
Dear Tim and Moby, why do we feel hot and cold? From Jonathan. Ow! Jonathan, you can feel things like hot and cold, soft and sharp edges, and being poked in the head because of your nervous system. The nervous system is the control center for your entire body. It's made up of your brain, your spinal cord, and a huge network of nerves. Your brain uses information it receives from your nerves to coordinate all of your actions and reactions. Without it, you'd be in big trouble. Your brain contains an intricate network of nerve cells or neurons that carry messages back and forth. Kind of like telephone wires. When you touch something, a neuron is stimulated. That neuron generates a tiny electrical impulse. This impulse travels the full length of the neuron. When it gets to the end, it needs help getting across the gap to the next neuron. That's where chemicals called neurotransmitters jump in. The electrical pulse in the first cell releases chemicals that carry that impulse to the next cell. The signal travels through the network to your brain. You don't have to touch something to put the nervous system to work. It's up and running all the time. The nervous system actually works in two ways. The autonomic nervous system handles all the things that seem to happen on their own, like your heart beating. The somatic nervous system controls voluntary actions like talking or petting your cat. When you touch something hot, it triggers a reflex action that happens without your brain's help. Neurons signal the spinal cord with a pain message. The spinal cord reacts quickly by having muscles in your finger contract and pull away. Some parts of the skin have more receptors than others. That's why your tongue is more heat sensitive than, say, your heel. Stop poking me! Moby was testing my nervous system. Look, Moby, I can't turn off my nervous system like you can. Huh. See? Your nervous system is important.
Okay, so our nervous system, we look down at the bottom, or on your paper. So we have the cerebrum, the cerebellum, and the brainstem, or the medulla. Right? And the nervous system is going to control all the reactions in your body, all your responses to a stimuli, the changes in your environment, with these electrical impulses that we saw there. Okay, now let's look at the endocrine system. So the endocrine system controls body activities using hormones. So let's look a little bit at the endocrine system.
Dear Tim and Moby, what are hormones and what body system do they belong to? From Cutie Pie. No, Moby, this isn't the puberty movie all over again. Puberty is just one of the things controlled by hormones from the endocrine system. Ever wonder how your body stays around the same temperature or why you fall asleep and wake up automatically? The endocrine system is in charge of making sure that your body's many functions are coordinated. It's made up of groupings of cells called glands. There are 8 major endocrine glands: the pituitary gland, the thyroid gland, the adrenal glands, the pineal gland, the pancreas, the thymus, the parathyroids, the ovaries in women, and the testes in men. These glands make more than 30 types of hormones, each with their own special job. Hormones are responsible for regulating your metabolism, mood, growth, and organ function. A part of your brain called the hypothalamus is critical to your endocrine system. It monitors your body and sends the information to your pituitary gland. The pituitary gland is attached to the hypothalamus, and it's like the king of the endocrine system. It sends out its own chemical messages and rules the actions of most of the other major endocrine glands. Well, each gland has a different job. The thyroid releases hormones that control how fast your body's cells burn energy. That's important because it affects how other parts of you grow and develop. The parathyroid glands keep the level of calcium in your blood at a certain level. If, say, your blood has too much or too little calcium, your nerves and muscles don't work right. The adrenal glands regulate your response to stress. Right, they release the hormone adrenaline in dangerous or exciting situations. Gives you a quick burst of strength and speed.
The adrenal glands are also involved with your body's regulation of salt and its sexual development during puberty.
The function of the pineal gland isn't fully understood yet. All we know is it secretes a hormone called melatonin that's thought to influence our sleep cycle, metabolism, and sexual development. The pancreas secretes the hormone insulin, which regulates your blood sugar. You've probably heard of type 1 diabetes. That happens when the pancreas can't produce enough insulin to control your blood sugar. The thymus helps your body fight off infections. It's a key player in the production of T cells, which identify and kill germs in your blood. Almost done, buddy. Hang in there. Finally, there are the ovaries in women and the testes in men. These glands produce hormones that help us reach maturity, fight infections, stay energetic, and more. They also produce the sex cells for reproduction. Well, no matter what gland produces them, hormones all work in the same basic way. On one side, we've got the glands and cells that produce hormones. And on the other side, we've got cells and tissues that respond to the hormones. When glands secrete hormones into the bloodstream, the hormones travel to a target cell or target tissue. When the target's receptors get their chemical message, they go to work carrying out their function. Every cell in your body has receptors for particular hormones. Well, the endocrine system works in cycles. It produces hormones, and the hormones do their job, causing many different things to happen in many different types of cells. Think about how you suddenly start growing in your teen years. When it's time for a growth spurt, the pituitary gland sends out a growth hormone that tells your cells, it's time to grow up, start dividing.
Your adrenal glands and sexual glands also contribute.
When your body is finished growing, your cells will produce chemicals that stop those growth hormones from being released. That's why you stop growing. This is called negative feedback, and it's how most hormone production is regulated. When a job's done, negative feedback occurs and the hormone production stops until it's time for the whole process to start over again. Don't be so literal.
Okay, so key thing, the difference between nervous and endocrine. So the nervous system uses these electrical impulses, and those electrical impulses travel through our nerves from the sensory neurons to the receptors to our muscles. Right? The endocrine system uses hormones, and so the hormones are released by the glands in one area of the body. They travel through the blood to the target tissue, and then they cause that change. So how do these two systems work together? Well, they basically work together to control all body activities. So the nervous system uses quick and short-lived effects, where the endocrine system uses slower and longer lasting effects. So nervous responses can happen very quickly, but it's a much more short-lived effect. Where the endocrine system, the changes are slower and they have longer lasting effects. Right? So some of the, you already labeled the brain here. Right. Some of the glands. So here we have the pituitary gland, right there at the base of the brain. We have the adrenal glands that release adrenaline right on top of your kidneys. We have the ovaries for females and the testes for males. So the ovaries will release estrogen and progesterone for females. The testes will release testosterone. All right, so what I'd like you to do now is you can tell the substitute that you are ready for the News ELA article. I have a class set of these. So you are going to read this article, and then in Google Classroom, there is a link to this Google form, which has 5 quick questions about the article. So read the article and complete that Google form. I will also post a copy of this article in Google Classroom in case you don't get this far in class, and so that you can finish it for homework. So again, your homework is to finish any classwork that isn't completed, and I will see you tomorrow or our next class, and we'll be working on a reflex lab. So have a great night.